Whoa, 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 hold up. Hear me out. You could win $250 every single month. From here on out, every single month, I'm gonna be giving away $250 to one person. And then even to take it one step further than $250 every single month, by the way, this is the real deal. Once we hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm gonna be giving away an actual dirt bike. And now you might be asking yourself, well, how do I enter? I want to win. All you need to do to enter this giveaway is go to my website that I created. It's called Outdoor Revival. You spend 20 bucks on a nice hat or even cheaper things like a phone case on there and you get entered. The phone case is one entry, and if you buy a hat, you get 2 entries. Now keep in mind, my channel is not big at all. This is a small channel, so your chances of winning are actually pretty dang high. Spend 20 bucks, you could win $250. And I do this every single month. And it's gonna be the same thing for the dirt bike. Once I hit 10K, it'll be the same deal. You go and buy a hat, you get 2 entries. You buy 2 hats, you get 4 entries. And if you buy this cooler right here, then you get 4 entries into the giveaway. And remember, there's not gonna be a lot of entries. So if you buy this right here, your chances shoot up tremendously high. So your chances of winning are extremely high here. Not to mention, they're very good hats. I ordered a couple myself just to see the quality and to feel it and see the print on it, and they all turned out amazing. This is one that says "This is God's country" on it. It has mountains, it has the cross right in the middle, the American flag. This is my personal favorite. It's the redeemed hat with a cross made of nails. Outdoor Revival, that is the name of the website. That website is basically based on 2 things. Number 1, most importantly, Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, and He is who He says He was. Number 2, I believe everybody needs to put their phones down, put down the electronics, and get outside, go into nature, hunt, fish, go on a walk, whatever you guys want to do. So, there you go. Go take a look at the website, see if you guys want anything, and keep in mind, every month I'm going to be doing this. 2 entries if you buy a hat, 1 entry if you buy a phone case. Good luck, everybody, and the winner will be picked next month. Let's get into the video now. What's up, guys? Double G Bassin here, back with another video. And today, we are going to be doing another top 10 video. The 10 biggest freshwater fish ever caught. It's going to be the same thing as the last video I did of this. I picked 10 different freshwater species of fish and did a deep dive into that species to find out what the biggest fish ever caught was for that species, where, what they used, everything. You guys really seem to like this series, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this one as well. Let's get straight into it. Coming in at number 10, on May 15th, 2018, J.M. Ferguson went and fished a private pond near Knoxville, Tennessee. He was just going out for a casual day of fishing, didn't know really what he was going for, what he was going to catch that day. He was just fishing for whatever bites. He was fishing a Kalin's 2-inch triple threat grub on a 1/8 ounce jig head. And while he was reeling in that grub, he felt a tap tap on his line and he set the hook. Now Jam knew that this was a big fish. Whatever it was big. Because you got to remember, he's fishing a little private pond. You don't really catch giant fish out of ponds. He was just shocked that this fish was fighting this hard. It took him 5 minutes to get this fish in. And when he finally caught the first glimpse of this fish, he knew he had to get Tennessee officials over here immediately. Now, once the Tennessee officials got there, they brought certified scales, they had witnesses, there was even a witness to the catch. This was pretty much the most official you could get. So they took the fish and they weighed it. And the weight that came back was 5.7 pounds. It was 19.25 inches long. And the fish that J.M. Ferguson caught out of a private pond in Knoxville, Tennessee was the world record black crappie. Now, to make sure that this was a pure black crappie, they even took DNA samples to send to labs to make sure that it was 100% a black crappie and not some kind of hybrid. And when the results came back, it was official. J.M. caught a world record out of a small pond on a Kalin's 2-inch grub. That is insane. Coming in at number 9, on July 9th, 1955, David Hayes was fishing Dale Hollow Lake on the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. Now this lake is legendary for catching big smallmouth bass. In fact, the 3 biggest smallmouth bass ever caught have been caught out of Dale Hollow Lake. And it would treat David no differently. David was fishing a spot between Sulphur and Iron Creek. David was trolling a Pearl White Bomber 600 series on a Penn Pier 209 reel on a True Temper steel rod. And while he was trolling, his line got snagged on the bottom. As he was trying to get it unsnagged, all of a sudden, it started pulling back. And he couldn't believe it. So he started fighting this thing that he thought was a snag because it was so heavy He didn't even register to him that it could have been a fish on the end of his line. It took him 20 minutes to get this fish landed. And when he weighed it, he realized that he just made history. David caught an 11.15 pound smallmouth bass. And right off the top of his head, he didn't know if that was a world record or not. So he brought it back to the docks to get an official weight and find out all the facts. And when it was weighed on a certified scale, he was officially an owner of a world record title. Now, David would face a lot of controversy for this catch because a lot of people believed that the dock owner that he brought the fish to stuffed lead weights into the fish to make it heavier. And the rumors actually got so bad that David's record was stripped away from him. And the whole time, the rumors even agreed that David did not know that the dock owner put lead weights into it. The dock owner wanted the attention, like, oh yeah, the world record smallmouth was caught off of my dock. Come fish with me. I want to make the money from this. So he was just being selfish about it. But later on, these rumors were proved to be false. And David was given back the title of the biggest smallmouth ever caught on rod and reel. Coming in at number 8, on the early morning of August 2nd, 1960, Mabry Harper was fishing just east of Nashville on the Old Hickory Lake in Tennessee. Harper was a very experienced fisherman who's been to this lake and fished it many times before. So he knew what a big fish looked like, which is why when he pulled this fish up, he knew something was different. So he brought this fish back home, and immediately his wife was like, okay, you need to go get this weighed, measured, because this is an absolute monster. This is not normal. You need to do something about this. And when they did, this came out to a 25 pound, 41 inch walleye. I have a walleye in my room mounted right now. And the biggest walleye I've ever caught was 27 inches. Really honestly can't even imagine what a 41 inch walleye would look like. Like, that is just a true beast, a true freak of nature. But accusations began to spread around that this fish wasn't actually as big as they said it was. Because in the picture you see Mabry's wife holding the fish, not him. So people would compare the size of her hand to the fish and be like, this fish cannot possibly be 41 inches. There is no way. In 1966, the FFHAF removed Harper's fish from the world record records. Now, obviously, if you catch a world record fish, you're gonna want the credit. So the Harpers, they did not like this. So they put up a fight. They took that picture and they printed out a full-size poster of the exact height, the exact size of Mrs. Harper, holding the fish as well. And when they measured that fish, it came out to 41 inches. And they were immediately given back the record. Therefore, the Harpers still claim the throne of the biggest walleye ever caught. Coming in at number 7 on February 10th, 1996, Bill Keeley was fishing the Paraguay River close to the Urema Falls in Venezuela. Now, Bill is a very experienced and well-known fisherman in that area, and you're about to find out why. This guy is a legend. He was throwing a believer jointed musky lure using a heavy bait caster setup with 65 pound braid, so you know he wasn't after a small fish when he went out there that day. Now, Bill has caught many of these fish, and he said the average is between 12 to 15 pounds for this specific fish, which is why when he pulled up a 39.4 pound payara, he couldn't believe it. Payara are also known as the vampire fish or the Dracula fish due to their 2 massive teeth coming out from their bottom jaw. I mean, these things look absolutely gnarly. It would be freaky trying to hold that thing, I'm not gonna lie. But the reason Bill is such a legend is not only because he caught the world record, it's because he also caught the second biggest payara ever caught too. A couple years later, he was out on the same river when he set the 20 pound line world record for this fish, catching a 33.8 pound payara, therefore claiming 2 world records out of the same river just a couple years apart. I mean, who else is doing that? Come on, Bill, you're a beast. Coming in at number 6, it was a beautiful morning in Germany on October 16th, 1986, when Lothar Lewis was headed out to his favorite honey hole on Lake Griefern. On this particular day, he was planning on targeting carp and roach. But before that, he needed to complete his tradition that he does every time before he can target these fish. Little did he know, this tradition would give him a story he would tell for the rest of his life. Lewis picked up his spinning outfit, spooled with 16 pound mono, and a spoon that he tied on earlier that day. He took his first cast. Nothing. He took a second cast. Nothing again. He took his third cast. And while he was retrieving that third cast, what you could call a river monster decides it looked tasty and slammed it. He would have an epic 40-minute long fight before he got this fish to the bank, only to realize that the net that he brought was way too small. So full of adrenaline, he made a split-second decision to reach into the gill plates of this fish, which caused the massive fish's teeth to sink into his hands, causing him to gush blood all over, which he would later say he didn't even feel it because he was so excited. And Lewis's tradition is that he always takes 15 casts with his northern pike rod before he starts fishing for the other species he was planning to target. And that day, it paid off, and he caught a 55-pound and a 53-inch northern pike, which is still the world record almost 40 years later. A 55-pound and a 53-inch northern is ridiculous. Now imagine going into his gill plate just to get stuck by the massive teeth on those fish. That would be insane. That is a big fish. Coming in at number 5, on the morning of July 24th, 1949, Cal Johnson was patiently waiting for a thunderstorm to stop so they could finally go fishing. At 5 o'clock, they finally decided that it was clear enough to head out on the water. He said there was only a little ripple from the wind left at this point, so he decided it was safe to go out. Cal and his son hopped in the 16-foot, round-bottom wooden boat equipped with a 2.5 horsepower motor that the resort that they were staying at was letting them use. They headed straight towards the Moccasin Bar because that whole shoreline was a weedy sandbar, which is prime habitat for fish. Cal tied on a single-piece wobbler. It was a chub color, a South Bend pike or Reno. They began trolling the shoreline, fishing in 15 to 20 feet of water, and after only the second pass, Cal felt an immense amount of weight on the end of his line. Now, Cal was an experienced fisherman, and he knew to be patient and to just let the fish do its thing and tire itself out. And after about 20 minutes, the fish finally got tired enough to give them a glimpse. And when they saw this fish, they yelled, "Oh my gosh, is this real?" They honestly couldn't believe it. They could not believe the fish that they were looking at. And they almost got it close enough to gaff, but right before they were about to get this fish landed, it took off again. And they realized they weren't gonna be able to get this fish into the boat, so they slowly made their way over to the shoreline to land this fish. Once they made it to the shoreline, Cal's son jumped out and waited for Cal to get the fish close enough so he could gaff it. And when he finally did and brought it on to land, they were just in complete shock. When they brought the fish back to the resort, everybody came out to see it. They said that there was even people in their underwear that ran out there to see this fish. And when they saw the weight of this fish, everybody just lost it. Because Cal just caught a 67.8 pound, 60.2 inches with a 33.5-inch girth muskie, officially claiming the world record for the biggest muskie ever caught. Coming in at number 4, on February 28th, 2013, James Bramlett and his wife were very stressed out about an upcoming surgery that his wife had. If you've ever had surgery, you know how stressful it can be trying to get everything in order before and for after the surgery. It's just a very stressful time, and you're nervous about how it's gonna go, so there's really not much that can take that edge off. That's why when James's wife told him that she wanted him to go out on one last fishing trip before the surgery, just to kind of get his mind off of everything, he was absolutely ecstatic about it. So he loaded up his fishing gear, which was a 50-pound spinning reel setup. He had a size 6 hook on there tied onto it, and he went to the store. He picked up some 10-inch live gizzard shads. You can absolutely never go wrong with live shad. And he drove down to his favorite fishing spot, which was near the Gorgas Steam Plant on the upper bankhead of the Black Warrior River in Alabama. So James was walking up and down the shoreline, kind of looking for any signs of fish or maybe a good pocket that he wanted to cast into. When he looked up, he noticed a giant boil on the water. And if you don't know what that is, it's when a fish comes up near the surface and it turns around or it goes back down, it disturbs the surface of the water, creating like a little boil on the surface. So James noticed that, and he instantly casted right on top of that boil. It was a perfect cast. And luckily for him, whatever fish made that boil noticed the 10-inch live shad instantly, and before you know it, James was in for the fight of a lifetime. So I'm sure James's heart was absolutely pounding and racing because this fish took him up and down the shoreline for 25 minutes straight before it got close enough for James to reach down and grab and secure this fish. He knew that he could have just caught the biggest landlocked striped bass to ever be caught, because when he weighed and measured this landlocked striped bass, it came out to 69.9 pounds. Almost a 70-pound freshwater striped bass. Come on, dude. I thought the one that I caught was big. 70 pounds is insane. And this absolutely shattered the 50-year-old Alabama state record for a landlocked striped bass, which was 55 pounds, 45 inches with a 37-inch girth. James's fish was 15 pounds, bigger than the previous state record. So James, if you are somehow watching this, that is amazing. Congratulations, and I hope your wife's surgery went great and she made a full recovery, and I hope you're already back out there trying to look for some more biggins. Thank you for the story. Coming in at number 3, on August 19th, 1995, Lloyd Bull was spending another fishing trip fishing the Great Bear Lake in Canada. Now, Lloyd was an annual visitor for this lake, and he came here every single year for many years before this happened to fish for these fish. He was doing the same thing that he did every other day and every other year that he was out there. He was trolling a husky daredevil spoon targeting lake trout. And on August 19th, 1995, he would catch the biggest lake trout to ever be caught in the history of the world. When he finally got this fish in the boat, he immediately went back to shore to get it weighed on a certified scale, and when he did, it revealed that he just caught the world record lake trout. And this absolute unit came out to 72 pounds, 59 inches, with a 32-inch girth. So all that time and all that money he spent to get there finally paid off for him in the end. But the interesting thing about the lake trout world record is not too long ago, there was actually a bigger lake trout caught on a rod and reel. And it was actually pretty recently. It was in May 2023 on the Blue Mesa Reservoir in Gunnison, Colorado. Now, this fish officially broke the state record, but in my opinion, this is the true world record for the lake trout. It weighed 73.29 pounds. It was 47 inches long, with a 37-inch girth, so it's a whole pound heavier than the official world record. Scott Anglo was fishing with his son, and he caught the massive fish on a jig with a little plastic tube on the end, and he fought it for 13 minutes. But now here is where it gets interesting and why he doesn't have the official world record for lake trout. So the IGFA has specific regulations and requirements in order for you to be the official world record holder of a fish. And one of those is the fish you catch has to be weighed on a certified scale on land. And even though Scott did weigh this fish with a handheld scale, he did that in his boat, and he got all of it on video and everything. He did it in his boat, therefore it did not count as an official world record. So that is the main reason why he did not get the official world record documents, title, whatever you want to call it. But in the end, even though he knew he wasn't going to get the official title, he decided to let the fish go, because this fish was 60 years old and it was carrying eggs. So he decided that this fish living was more important to him than getting the world record. As a fisherman myself, I can 100% respect that in every way. So honestly, good for him. Congratulations to both fishermen for catching these massive fish. And let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments below. Coming in at number 2. In 2011, Richard Anderson was out fishing on a family fishing trip with his father and his brother. They were pretty regular fishermen on this lake, and that lake is Kerr Lake in Virginia. They were fishing a part of this lake called Bugs Island. I don't know if it was actually an island or just something that they call it, but that is their honey hole on this lake, and they fish it all the time. Now, they were all rigged up with heavy tackle, and they were using chicken as bait. And I'm sure you already know where this is going, because one of the most famous fish to target with chicken is catfish. And catfish can get absolutely massive. And on this night in Virginia, at around 9 p.m., Richard saw one of his rods go tap, 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 which means that a fish is biting the chicken on the other end of the line. So he waited there for a couple seconds to see if the fish was going to take it and run with it or not, or if it was just kind of tasting it. But a catfish and chicken, you put that together, that catfish is going to destroy that chicken 9 times out of 10. So, thankfully for Richard, this catfish took that chicken and started peeling away with it, and his rod was screaming drag. So Richard ran over to his rod, he picked it up, he set the hook, and the fight was on. Immediately, when you hook a fish, you can tell if it's going to be a big one or a little one. And Richard immediately knew that this was a massive, massive fish. Now, Richard's father and brother, they ran and got their rods and they reeled it in so Richard's fish wouldn't get tangled in the other rod, and they were just kind of eagerly standing there waiting to see when they can finally get a glimpse of this thing. But that wouldn't happen for a full 45 minutes. It was just an absolute dogfight between Richard and this fish. And after about 45 minutes, Richard finally got it close enough to the boat. And when his brother grabbed the net and tried to get the fish in, they got the fish in, but it broke the net. It broke their only net that they had. So then the fight was back on, and the fish was free from the net, and now they didn't have a net to get the fish in. So they knew they were just gonna have to get this thing in with their hands, which was extremely dangerous because catfish have extremely sharp barbs on the side of their face and the top of their head. And if you get poked by those things, it hurts bad. So Richard would get this fish to the boat 4 more times after it broke out of the net. And on the 4th time, thankfully, they were able to wrestle this fish into the boat and they could finally breathe a sigh of relief and celebrate. When it was all over and they actually saw the fish that they had in their boat, Richard's dad and his brother were just jumping up and down with excitement, and they were yelling and screaming and high-fiving all around. Richard said that he just sat down, looked at this fish, and was just in complete shock. He felt like he was in a dream, like it wasn't actually happening. While his brother and dad were jumping up and down, he's just sitting in the middle looking at this fish, not believing that it's really happening. That shock was for very good reason, because when this fish was weighed, it weighed a whopping 143 pounds, and the fish that they caught was a blue catfish. This fish was 4.75 feet long, and it had a 43.5-inch girth, which is just ridiculous. That is a gigantic fish. Now, Richard really tried his best to keep this fish alive because he wanted to put it on display at the local Bass Pro Shop, but unfortunately the fish did not survive the trip there, so he decided to just get it mounted and leave it on display some other place. And Richard would later say that he knew the fish was big, but he had no idea that it was a world record. Coming in at number 1. Now, this is actually the biggest freshwater fish ever to be caught on rod and reel. I didn't add this into my last video because I was a little bit on the fence about it, but you'll see what I mean later on. But after diving deeper and doing some more research, I discovered that this truly is the biggest freshwater fish ever caught on a rod and reel. So I have to give the guy his credit and tell you guys his unbelievable story. So here we go. It was June 13th, 2022. So very, very recently. A local Cambodian fisherman went out on the Mekong River to try to score a nice catch so he could make some money that day. And all of his gear that he had was a locally made rod and twine. It was nothing high tech, nothing fancy, and that fit perfectly along with his small aluminum boat that he used. And that makes what happened next almost unbelievable. It actually didn't take that long before he felt his line pull tight, so he set the hook, and he immediately knew that he had something unimaginably big on the end of his line. After 3 brutal hours of fighting this fish, and his arms were burning and they felt weak and his back was hurting, he came to the sudden and almost desperate realization that he was not going to be able to get this fish in by himself. It was that big. So he decides to make a call. And several more hours later, a group called the Wonders of the Mekong. They arrive on the scene to see this Cambodian fisherman in his boat, which is smaller than the fish on the end of his line, by the way. They can all kind of see what it was now because he moved his boat to the shore because it wasn't even possible to get the fish into the boat because it was that big. It took 13 people to get a tarp under this fish and drag it up onto the beach to get official measurements and weights. And to get those weights, it took 3 commercial scales, and it was measured over 13 feet long and weighed more than 2 standard refrigerators. When they saw how much it weighed, the realization and the complete miracle of what had just happened really began to set in for everybody. A 661-pound giant freshwater stingray was just caught in a small village in Cambodia with locally crafted line and a fishing pole on a tiny aluminum boat that was smaller than the fish. And that is all it took to hook, fight, and land the biggest freshwater fish ever caught on a rod and reel, therefore officially claiming the world record. And for the stingray that was caught, they named her Borami. She got a happy ending. Unlike many other world record fish that are caught, they are often killed and put on display. Researchers who were on the scene were very, very considerate and careful. They conducted tests and tagged Borami to track her migration patterns and other things that they wanted to study or found interesting. But after 18 hours from the second he set the hook until Borami was released back into the wilds of the Mekong River to swim back down to the depths, completely unaware that she just made history. That is such a cool story, and also super cool to know that she is still alive today down there in the Mekong River, just living her best life. What an awesome fish. What an awesome story. Just super cool that all those people got to see it. All the videos that were taken. I mean, it's just a beautiful and massive fish. So that's it for the video. And then also just a quick reminder, I am doing a $250 giveaway every single month until I hit 10,000 subscribers, which then I will be giving away a dirt bike. And all you need to do to enter is go on my website and buy one of these hats. They're literally only $20, $19.99, and so far I literally only have 3 entries. So, and my channel is still very small, so your chances of winning are ridiculously high. So if you guys like my videos at all, or you just want to support me in any way, that would be that. I mean, literally, I can't even put into words how much that would mean to me, honest to God. So literally just $20, guys, and you have a very good shot at winning $250. The link will be in the description, and there's some really cool designs on there for you guys to check out. So go head over there and get yourself a hat. That would mean the world to me. And if you guys don't know already, I do a Bible verse at the end of every video. So we're going to do that quick. Stick around if you want to. If not, thank you for being here and thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you are going to stay, thank you. And let's get right into it. Today, I'm going to be reading Psalms 34, verses 4, 5, and 8. And this says, I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears. They looked unto him, and they were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in him. And basically what that verse is saying, you just need to put your trust in the Lord. Give him all of your burdens. If you have anxiety, if you're scared of something, you're going through a tough time, bring that all to him, and he will deliver you from that. Like anything, it doesn't even matter what it is. It could be depression, drug addiction, anger. It literally does not matter what you bring to him. If you truly put your trust in him, he will help you get rid of all of those things, and he will build you back better than you were before. That's why it says you are a new creation through God. Your old self is dying to your new self, and you are reborn in Christ. And when you do that, your life will literally change for the best, and you will feel a feeling of peace that you've never felt before. Just knowing you have him by your side at all times is such an amazing feeling, and you can't really describe it. You need to feel it, and you will feel it if you truly put your trust in him, and if you truly want a relationship with him. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. And before I go, I just want to say shout out to my boy Knox. Thank you for watching all the videos, buddy. I appreciate it. Hope you like this one too. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And until next time, this is Double G Bassin signing out. Peace!